Created a really big mess of Archie's birth, quite frankly, and the pregnancy as well.
Whole description she does of the Portland hospital, the birth, that was completely fabricated.
There's one of those conspiracy theories on the internet that she might not have actually carried her babies, that they may have used a surrogate.
Something strange is going on behind those heavy palace gates. And no, it's not the usual drama, not the tabloid screaming scandal. This time, it's quiet, cold, calculated. People in the palace corridors are whispering senior advisors have quietly started looking into things. And guess what it's about? Archie and little Lilibet. Now listen, the crown doesn't just look into things. When they do, it's serious, really serious. Because questions about the bloodline, those terrify them more than bad headlines ever could. They've reportedly found odd details, tiny inconsistencies that alone might mean nothing. But together, they form a pattern that the palace simply couldn't ignore. And when that pattern landed on the desks of the top officials, the whispers started. Because for the monarchy, there's one sacred rule that overrides everything. The line of succession cannot have question marks. So why now? Why touch the one topic the royals usually pretend doesn't even exist? Well, here's where it gets messy. They found out that Archie's birth certificate was changed months after he was born. And no, not some tiny correction or typo, a complete removal. Meghan's full name, Rachel Meghan Markle, vanished. Gone. Erased from the record. In its place, just a title. Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. No first name, no last name. Just the formal styling. Now, for any regular family, you might shrug it off, someone fixes a date or adjusts a spelling. But this is the royal family. Birth certificates aren't casual papers you tuck into a folder. They're official, historical documents, especially for someone potentially close to the line of succession. Every letter, every signature is meant to be permanent from day one. So when something changes on a document like that, the palace knows it's not small. Someone had to request it, someone had to approve it, and there had to be a solid reason. But guess what? Nobody seems to know who asked for it or why. You'd think there'd be one neat explanation, one clear story. Nope. Meghan's camp insists the palace ordered the change, that they wanted her personal name removed and replaced with the title. But palace insiders tell the complete opposite. They claim it was Meghan's team who pushed for it. Two conflicting stories, no records backing either side. And for royal paperwork, that's not just odd, it's alarming. Because palace records are supposed to be immaculate. Every meeting, every decision, every edit logged. So when staff went back to check who made this call, they hit a wall. No paperwork, no timeline, no notes. Just confusion. That's when they started digging deeper. Apparently, Meghan and Harry kept Archie's birth secret for more than 8 hours. 8! That's practically unheard of for a royal baby. Usually, births are announced the moment labor begins. Press lines up, crowds gather, the palace releases statements. But with Archie, there was silence. Then came the statement saying Meghan had just gone into labor. Except, Archie was already born. He was here, wrapped in a blanket somewhere while the whole world was waiting for an update that made it sound like she was still in the hospital. When the truth finally came out, people felt tricked. Because, let's be honest, you don't accidentally mix up in labor and already gave birth. That's a choice. That's control. And it's not how the royal machine works. Royal births are practically clockwork. There's always an announcement when labor starts, then an official statement when the baby arrives with timestamps, doctors' names, even signatures. Then comes that iconic moment on the hospital steps. New parents, proud smiles, the baby wrapped in a white blanket for the cameras. Everyone expects it. It's tradition. William and Kate did it. Charles and Diana did it. Even generations before them. It's the royal way. But Meghan and Harry, they turned that pattern upside down. No hospital steps photo, no doctor's statement, no Buckingham Palace easel with the official notice. Instead, there was confusion. Journalists waiting at one hospital, rumors spreading that it might have been another, maybe even a home birth. Nobody could confirm anything, the timelines didn't line up. The palace had no concrete details, and for an institution that documents everything, that was bizarre. Because royal births aren't casual family moments. They're verified, recorded, signed off by crown-approved doctors and senior officials. It's not about being nosy, it's about the future of the monarchy. The records matter. But when staff went back through Archie's timeline later, they couldn't make sense of it. Not one straight, clear line. Just odd gaps, missing entries, conflicting notes. Enough to make people in the palace whisper, "Wait, what's going on here?" And just when they thought it couldn't get murkier came Lilibet. If Archie's birth raised eyebrows, Lilibet's raised alarms. Because this time, there wasn't even an attempt to follow royal procedure. Her entire birth was handled through Meghan and Harry's California PR team. No palace involvement, no Buckingham announcement, no royal doctors, nothing. Just a press release and some glossy, carefully staged photos. For Hollywood, fine. But for a royal, that's unheard of. Normally, British doctors would verify the birth. The palace would issue a statement and the record would immediately be entered into the royal archives. But this? It was just missing. And as if that wasn't strange enough, people started noticing inconsistencies even during Meghan's pregnancy. On some video calls, she looked ready to pop. In others, barely showing. Sure, pregnancies look different on everyone, but when you're dealing with royal lineage, those inconsistencies start piling up like puzzle pieces that don't fit. Each detail alone meant nothing, but together, they painted a picture that didn't make sense. The palace stayed silent through all of it. No confirmations, no denials, just watching, waiting, until one missing piece became too big to ignore: Lilibet's christening. Now, christenings in royal circles aren't just sweet, candlelit family moments. They're sacred. They officially connect the child to the Church of England, the very church the monarch leads. It's where the baby is formally recorded as part of the royal lineage. But when staff quietly checked the church's registry for Lilibet's record, nothing. No entry, no confirmation. No bishop's signature. Even the archbishop's office had no trace of it. For a regular child, maybe it's a mix-up. For someone in the royal line, that's a disaster, because every royal christening, even private ones, leaves a paper trail. It's supposed to remove any doubt about identity and connection to the crown, and here there was no proof it ever happened. That was the final push for the palace. They needed answers before they could even deal with the missing christening record. They had to revisit something ancient, something from 1917, written by King George V, the letters patent. That document outlines who is and who isn't officially royal. It's old-fashioned, yes, but crucial. It says that to be officially recognized, a royal child must meet 3 conditions. The lineage must be traceable through verified records. The birth must follow royal process, proper doctors, paperwork, and witnesses. The christening must be performed under the Church of England. Miss one of those, and the recognition becomes incomplete. Normally, it's easy. Babies are born in the UK, royal doctors attend, records are immediate, and christenings follow months later. Simple. But with Archie and Lilibet, everything happened outside that system. Archie's birth had those gaps. The timeline mess, the secrecy. Lilibet was born abroad, with no official British involvement at all. And when the palace stacked all the inconsistencies side by side, they realized these weren't isolated issues. This was a pattern. That's when the quiet review began. No public announcements, no leaks, just serious people behind closed doors, advisors, church figures, royal historians poring over every file, photo, and note. They built a wall-sized timeline marking every detail: births, statements, locations, missing paperwork, contradicting quotes. Piece by piece, it became obvious too many gaps, too many things that didn't line up. Harry said one thing, Meghan another. Insiders recalled something else. Documents didn't match their stories. And here's the truth. For the monarchy, not knowing is worse than scandal. Scandal fades. Doubt doesn't. If the world starts questioning whether those children truly fit into the royal lineage, it chips away at the monarchy's foundation. That's why they acted. Quietly. carefully, but decisively. Because uncertainty about bloodline is like poison to the crown. Now, imagine what that means for Meghan. Her entire identity after leaving royal life is built on that connection being the Duchess, the mother of royal children, the woman who walked away but still carries royal mystique. That title sells books. It gets Netflix deals. It makes headlines. It powers her brand. But if the palace can't verify her children's royal status, that mystique collapses. She's not the modern Duchess anymore. She's just another celebrity mom, and that terrifies her. For Harry, though, it cuts even deeper. His bloodline was his entire identity. He grew up believing it defined him, that his children would always belong to something larger than himself. Even after leaving, he thought their royal connection was unbreakable. But now, with his own family quietly questioning that, it's breaking him. Sources say he's been reaching out to senior royals, frustrated, emotional, begging for answers. But when the palace starts reviewing records, emotions don't matter. They protect the institution first, always. So, what happens next? 3 possibilities. 1. The palace freezes everything. No changes, no removals, just silence. The children stay listed but never move forward. They fade into the background as private citizens. 2. Quiet reclassification. No announcements. Their titles slowly slide off the official site, their names sink into footnotes. They'll still exist, just not as working royals. 3. Full removal, the coldest option. If the paperwork can't confirm the lineage and the births don't align with royal protocol, the titles can legally be revoked. Not out of spite, but because the rules demand verification. And the rules in the monarchy are sacred. Because when it comes to protecting the bloodline, the palace doesn't hesitate. Families fracture, emotions crumble, reputations fall, but the crown stands untouched. It always has, it always will. Meghan and Harry thought they could take the royal mystique to California, build an empire on it, and control the narrative forever. But what they forgot is that the palace writes the real story. And if Buckingham Palace decides to pull the plug, everything they've built, titles, image, brand, can vanish overnight. Because in the end, the monarchy doesn't care about feelings. It cares about survival. And the line of succession must remain spotless. What happens next? We might never know, at least not officially. The decision will come quietly, behind locked doors, written in history books long after. But one thing's clear, for Meghan and Harry, the storm isn't over. It's only just begun. But what's haunting Meghan and Harry the most isn't just what the palace might do, it's what they already know. Because every quiet investigation inside Buckingham carries a whisper trail that always leaks out eventually. And now, those whispers have turned into rumors echoing through London's corridors. Rumors that the palace's findings have already been compiled into a confidential dossier. Insiders claim it outlines every missing document, every conflicting statement, every unanswered question surrounding Archie and Lilibet. People close to the couple say Meghan hasn't been sleeping well. She's pacing the hallways of their Montecito mansion at night, phone in hand, checking headlines that haven't even broken yet, terrified of what the next day might bring. Harry's reportedly withdrawn, snapping at calls, shutting himself in his office. Because deep down, he knows this isn't just a media issue, it's a heritage issue. Once the crown questions the bloodline, there's no going back. And maybe that's the cruel irony. After everything they ran from, it's still the palace that holds the final say in their story. Behind the smiles, behind the cameras, there's one truth they can't escape. The crown always gets the last word.